seconds. There we go. All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praises due to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem, Bash. Also want to give double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone, teaching the truth and sincerity, and also Rubo. Peace and salutations to the whole folk that scattered four corners of the earth, which we so-called Negroes, Latino, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. You know, the true Israelites that's come out, that elect nation of Israel, that the nation of Israel that the Lord is dealing with. All right? This brother, Wanathan, just back at you with another lesson from Great Millstone, Detroit. And, you know, this is just harking. This is just on my live, you know, my mind, meditating, you know, just pray, keep the faith, stick with Yahweh Shem Shai, because, you know, it's evident you see the prophecy speaking, you know, but at this point, you know, keep the faith, because we still have a lot of scoffers, a lot of false prophets, you know. I really had to say the Wadi Yahweh Shem Shai for our elders and apostles, because now you see the false prophets and you see the scoffing, but don't let that deter. Don't let that. What I'm trying to say is, don't let that, you know, let it take away your faith. These are things that are that are going to happen in these days, man. Which is evident when you should actually build your faith. Okay? Our people are waking up. You know, we had the awakening. You know, we had the falling away first. Now it's the time that we're waking up to know our true nationality, our true heritage. Okay? So that's a sign. Okay? It's something to the scriptures. Now you see the you know, false teachers, right? So let me not get too long-winded, because once you see the prophets hit the scene, you know, when the prophets hit the scene, it lets you know that something is coming down the rabbit hole, man. And usually when the prophets hit the scene, it's letting you know, hey, things is about to get bad. But when the prophets hit the scene, they give you a warning, like, turn away, turn away. You can be saved. And now this is a great time for being an Israelite, because, you know, this is the time of our Lord returning back. So just a quick one, just kind of to the point, we get Matthew 24. And then we'll get into the lesson. It says, this is Matthew 24, and it says in 31, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and then shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Now this is a time where I'm just bringing is when the Lord returns. He's going to show nothing but destruction when you read up at a verse above. But the point is, for this time, the great salvation is going to be beautiful for the elect, because that's who the Lord is coming for in these days. You know, Revelation the 7th chapter, the 144,000, 12,000 out of each tribe, and the numerable multitude. But, you know, this is a time where you should listen, all right? And this is a time where your faith should be stabilized, right? Or sustained. You need a sustained, whatever you're feeling, keep that faith to grow, or sustain the faith that you have, but still continue to grow, right? Because these are the times that we're in. All right, so let me grab this one in 2 Peter's. Bibles, but it's just so small. This is 2 Peter's the second, then 2 Peter's the third chapter. Gotta be so pristine with these pages. Please bear with me, Salakia. There we go. Start at 2 Peter's 2. We can start from the top. It says, but there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privately shall bring a damnable heresy, even denying the Lord that brought them, and bring upon them swift destruction. Because there's a lot of false teachers out there. Yes, now, like I said, I'm calling out names. Like you said, you see IUIC for one. You know what they do. Commandment. The name of the Lord doesn't matter when it really does. Again, the name of the Lord is a strong tower. But yet, you can see, that they're not really looking out for the sheep, man. And it says, and many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be even evil spoken. Okay. There's another one. I think that's Ezekiel. Let me grab that. Ezekiel 12. What's that? It's 34. Yep. So I'll grab that one later. But let's get 2 Peter's chapter 3 and verse 3. So it reads, knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffer, walking after their own lust. Now, that was basically getting into, people talking shit, right? And these are the last days. You see it now on the forefront. You got women talking mess. You got, you pay attention, especially with the brothers in GMS go through, you got people scoffing, talking mess. Oh, y'all bums. Y'all broke. Y'all don't have a job. No, that's not the case. Hey, being a man in GMS, you better have a job. Just because we ain't lined up and fitting the ways of, this world doesn't mean, hey, listen, we handsome, we still get it, we still get, get things done, get the attention, but we do it in righteousness' sake. Right? Let me read that again. It says, verse, 2 Peter's 2 and 2 Peter's 3 and 3. Let me slow down. It says, knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts. And yes, we're in the last days, man. So let me grab one to back myself up. Let me get the book of Jude, and it will further expound upon it. This is Jude 1 and we could start at 16, but let's get 18. It says, Jude 1 and 18. How that they told you there should be mockers in the last time, who shall walk after their own ungodly lust. Now, when you get into that word mockers, and that one in the Greek, it gets into the scoffers, but it also goes into a false prophet. You know, we have the false prophets now. Yet, because you said when you see a prophet, whatever he say, if it comes to, he's going to speak in a future sense, things that's going to happen. Now, if it happens, now you know that's a true prophet. But if you see a prophet say things that's not linked up to the scriptures, or things that he would so-called prophesy and it don't happen, that's a false prophet. Yo, Jeremiah 14:14 talks about it. But and I'll grab it too in Ezekiel 33 and 33. I know it's another one in there. But you got to see, that's why you have to have discernment. That's why you got to pay attention. You can't be gullible. You got to look and see if the Lord allows you to see the things, hear the things, and consume it, and to filter it out. You will know who your real teachers are. Right. So, this one. Let me get that's crazy. It just popped right here. Ezekiel. Damn, that's crazy. And I did not save this. Ezekiel 33 and 33. And it reads, and when this come to pass, lo, it will come. Then shall they know that a prophet have been among them. And in the past, the time of old, and even to even these days, when I watch our elders and apostles, from elder apostle to Har on down, I'm like, these men, these are real men of the Lord. These are real men of the Lord, man. The Lord is dealing. They're man. Like the brother said, if it was a free throw contest, they ain't missing. They have not bricked. They just hitting all the points. From the lockdowns to the wars. Hey, and I can't wait until they implement the MOTB, because I'm gonna see, like, I'm gonna look. I just want to see what they gonna do. But let's get back to the point. This is Ezekiel 34 in verse 2. It reads, Son of man, prophesy against the shepherds of Israel. Prophesy and say unto them, Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh unto the shepherds, woe, means destruction, be to the shepherds of Israel that do feed themselves. Should not the shepherds feed the flock? Yeah, like look at a sheep herder. You know, they make sure they keep the flock safe, you know, and that goes with these congregations. You have a lot of false, like, teachers, prophets that's running these huge congregations, but they're feeding themselves. You know, you're not really teaching. Yay, like I said, I'll go again. IUIC. You're not teaching them things that is beneficial to salvation, right? And you know, you got that 501c3. Got the pretty garments. You know, we should donate this, that. Those are things that you should not be doing, right? You, like I said, when it comes to, you know, how we conduct ourselves at Brotherly Love, me at GMS, we got Brotherly Love. We want to make sure that we're doing our best to make sure the next brother gets salvation as well. You know, because we fear, we want mercy, so the Lord will have mercy on us. You know, how in the scripture says, forgive our debts as we forgive our debtors. You know, so we're making sure that we're giving the 100% truth. We're not looking at it for money, because this money is corruptible on this side. We were looking for the incorruptible, right? So we're doing this work to make sure that we're looking out for the next brother. And like I said, we're here to wake up the elect. All right. But it says, let me read that again. This is Ezekiel 34 and verse 2. Son of man, prophesy against the shepherds of Israel. Prophesy and say unto them, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh unto the shepherds, woe, be to the shepherds of Israel that feed themselves. Should not the shepherds feed the flock? And, you know, let's talk about the most detrimental things to look out for, like the MOTB. You got this individual saying, ain't no microchips. Oh, I'm sorry, Slovakia. You know, it's June, but that's detrimental to let the flock know. But you're not, right? Let's grab this one. Titus. Because now that we know that we're Israelites and we have teachers, some teachers should not be teaching, right? Here we go. This is Titus 11. Yep. Let's start at 10. This is Titus 1 and verse 10. It reads, "For there are many unruly, vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision." So basically letting you know, these leaders, they know that they're Israelites, right? Because being circumcised was an Israelite custom. Whose mouths must be stopped. Who subvert whole houses teaching things which they ought not, for filthy lucre's sake. Now, like I said, IUIC, probably these other camps, Sakari, this 501c3. Once you get that 50c3, you got limitations on you. You gotta kind of bend to their will, their algorithm, or however you want to say it. You can't come up with that whole truth, right? And IUIC, that is a household Israelite name. You know, it's crazy that, you know, even some of my family members be like, you with them? This, that, third. So I know you see that our people are waking up, but just because we're so-called Hebrew Israelites doesn't mean each group has the same way of teaching or believe on the same thing, right? Now with these other groups, yeah, they're going the hell off. But yet, what are they pocketing? You know, it's the money. You got, you know, the Gorilla Hebrew talking about his bank account. You know, they doing things for money. You know, I'll pay you, what, $5,000 for a debate, stuff like that. Yeah, you got, you know, Nate. Donate. The Lord doesn't tell you. I mean, it's cool to be charitable, help the brother out if a brother needs it. You know, feed the hungry, you know, give the thirsty drink, stuff, you know, things like that. But it's just a money grab thing, you know, to flex, to flaunt, you know. You said filthy lucre, like I said, that money. That's why Matthew 6 and 24, I believe, tells you can't serve the Lord and mammon, you know, because you're going to despise one, you're going to love one, and you're going to hate the other. Let me just make sure I said that right, though. Don't want to give anybody the... Yep, 6 and 24. Yep. So, you know, don't let these people that scoff, these false teachers, first off, you know, I would say this, if I'm just brand new and I want to come sincerely, I would say come to GMS. But, you know, the time that I came in, I had to filter out, like, what this camp was doing, what this camp was doing, and what this camp was doing. I'm like, okay, GMS have it. You know, they got it. They know the name. They take things serious. They're lowly. They ain't about money. And hey, it's beautiful. It was a challenge. Like the apostle, you know, when we on the highways and byways, you know, in the cold, you know, it's a challenge because you got to be, you know, the elders say get comfortable with being uncomfortable. All right. So I'm gonna end it off on this one. This is 2 Esdras 15 and verse 3. It says, "Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For All the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. But the point is, that incredulity is basically a non-believer. Just because, they don't believe, don't let that shake you up. I do admit, I be, you want to wake the people up, but like I said, you got to understand, this word is only for the elect. They're the only ones that's going to get this song. Revelation, the 14th chapter. That's wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And, just because they don't believe, don't let that, like, mess you up. Yeah, it still vexed me to this, me to this day, because I knew I wasn't like the brightest light bulb in the box. And knowing that I can get this word, how could the next person get that 2144? But how can the next person not get it? Right? So like I said, this is for the elect. Don't let these mockers get you. Don't let that shake up your faith. Hey, put it like this. Just let that unbeliever, these false teachers, these mockers, look at it like this. You have a better chance of being saved than them. Okay? But Lord willing, I hope this video was edifying. And again, I want to give all honor, glory, and praises due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash. And again, double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstones, teaching truth and sincerity. And also who will well. Peace and salutation to the hopeful elect. I'm going to close out. Shalom.